Welcome back to another episode of the We Grow Together podcast. I'm Laura DiFrancesco, your host, founder of Dean Street Law, Flourish Co-working and Event Space, right here with my best friend Molly over here. Ethereal Farms, our LD brand educational resources, and a few more businesses. I am talking to you today about the art of networking, how you can build meaningful connections. Now, I feel like there's been so much change in this in my career overall, in our society overall. Things are changing very quickly. But I think that there's so many different options for creating meaningful connections and cutting through the noise. Now, I feel like it's a lot harder to create meaningful connections because of the noise, but it is for sure possible both online and in person. So here's a few of my tips of how I create meaningful connections. So for me, I think the most important thing overall is to have a philosophy of connecting with others. And there's a few philosophies that I have, and I encourage you to develop your own philosophy of what makes the most sense for you. So for me, I am always looking to develop good connections with others. I am always looking to meet other people, but there are various times in my life where I have different amounts of time to devote to developing those connections. But I just had a podcast episode that we did all about lessons from multi-billion-dollar deals. And one of those lessons that I talked about is how building connections can drastically increase your overall success in your business, professional career, because it is who you know. It is also what you know, but it is definitely who you know too. So in my opinion, I think of creating connections as putting deposits in your bank account that will pay off in future. Or if you want to think about it in gardening, since if you're watching on YouTube, surrounded by so many beautiful plants, I think of it as planting seeds that may future blossom and may future be needed. But I never think of networking as needing someone to get something. I think that's a very dangerous, manipulative way of thinking of networking. I want to meet good people doing good things. If I had an ethos and philosophy around my networking, it is I have a goal to meet good people doing good things. I think that if I help good people doing good things, that good things will happen to me. I don't think that it's a one-for-one exchange. I don't go into relationships looking for something to get out of them. I think that there's a very unique thing when you're doing business development, particularly, to have a good philosophy that feels good to you internally. I think sales, business development, relationship development can be really challenging for a lot of people because it feels so transactional. But guess what? It's not transactional for a few reasons. One, you're not going to get out of it what you think you will. I have found that my relationships that I've developed over time are never the way I think they are. That's why I tried that for a very short period of time at the beginning of my career, is I want to go to these networking events to get business out of it. Well, guess what? One, when you're young, it takes a long time to build relationships and to get business out of going to networking events. And then two, you just can't think of it that transactionally. It just doesn't work that way. Yes, in business development and in sales, you do have a numbers game, and the more people you meet, the more opportunities you have, but it's just never worked that way for me. And I think that at the heart of that is that there are different people with different styles, with different philosophies, and you have to find out your philosophy and values and what works for you. Mine is simple. I like to meet good people doing good things, and I like to help people that are good people doing good things. So I always go into networking with what I can give to them, making it mutually beneficial. And I also go into it with just an eye at having good, meaningful conversations and connections. And that, I think, is part of the reason why I've been so successful in business development, in having a career and professional goals and everything like that, because I have not looked at it as transactional. I want to be an interesting person. I want to be an interesting person that people want to meet. I want to be someone they want to have a conversation with. I want to meet interesting people that I'm genuinely interested in what they're talking about. I almost never go to business when doing business development. I almost never talk about business when I'm networking. I want to actually connect with people one-on-one. I want to know, what do you care about? What motivates you? What do you think about on a daily basis? And then, if I think you're a good person doing good things and I want to connect with you, then I say, okay, what are you doing out in the world? How can I help you? Because I genuinely want to help you. I want you to succeed because you're in my network, you're in my circle. I want to give you business. I want to send something to you if I think it might help you. I want to be a good friend. I want to be the person that I want someone to be for me. So for me, it's just this really different philosophy. And maybe, I hope, there's some other people that are like that too, that just go to networking events or just go to different things and try to meet people and try to just meet good people doing good things. If you're out there trying to meet good people doing good things, connect with me. I would love that. I would love to build a genuine connection. And when you're thinking of what can I ask for someone, I honestly never ask anything of anyone, hardly ever. It is rare that I'm asking someone of something. Now, that's my style. I don't like asking people for things. I don't like asking people for their time. I would say, if I'm trying to network and let's say I'm doing an engagement strategy on a particular platform that I find is beneficial for our business, I like to say, hey, I would love to connect. If you would like to connect further, here's, would love to do so, or something like that. And if they do, then I might send them, I'll send them my calendar or something. But I never really ask people for their time. I never ask people for things. I was never the person that reached out to their mentors and asked someone to mentor me. I respect you if you do. I respect you if that's your game. I fully think that everybody has their own style and what they feel comfortable with, but I'm an independent woman, an independent soul that has a really hard time asking anybody for anything except maybe James to help me with the animals because he's amazing and my best friend and my whole human, and we love him so much. So, find the style that works for you. I think number one, find your ethos, find your value, find your style that works for you. That is the key to an entire networking program that will actually be effective for you. So once you find your style and find your ethos, it's time to find your people. And that has really changed over time in evolving how you can meet people. You can meet people online. You can meet people through other people. You can meet people at events and networking. There's so many different ways to meet people. And some of my best friends are people that I've met online that have just been putting down what I love, and I'm cheering them on and being like, I love what you do. And that to me is just something special. There have been so many friends that I've made through online connections that have become in-person connections, or that have become great business relationships, that I just love what they're doing. And I want to cheer them on, and I want to give them, my attention and everything like that. With that said, I think you have to be very careful about how you spend your time online, because when you're an ambitious person and have a lot of things to do, you don't want to spend time stuck on stories and just catching up with everybody. I have maybe maximum 10 people who I watch stories of. Everybody else is muted, lovingly muted, because I need to both spend time building relationships and spend time giving to the people who are really important to me and working on other aspects of my life. So you do have to have boundaries that you have. And that goes with in-person events too. There have been years or times, like now, I'm injured. I have a concussion. I have vertigo and can't be around a lot of people. This is unfortunately a time in my life where I haven't been able to attend networking events like I want to. There's been prior episodes in my life. Maybe it was that I was going through a really challenging time personally or something. One year I lost 3 family members, and all in 1 month. It was a very challenging time, and I could not go to networking events. I was like, you know what? I need to take a minute for myself. I need to do what I need to do. So when you are thinking about networking, be gracious with yourself. You are planting seeds for the future, but don't have guilt around it. I should be doing networking events. I should be doing this. I should be doing this. I should be following up more. There will always be more that you can do with networking. That's not the point of networking. The point of networking is planting the seeds and celebrating what you can do and what you do, because that is so much more important than just going to a bunch of events and trying to be this person for everybody else and then not being the person that you need to be for your own life and what's important to you. So when I'm thinking about different networking events and meeting my people, it's a lot of give and take, experimentation. I vibe with different groups way differently than I vibe with others. Some groups I vibe with and continue to go because I love it. Some of them I go to because it's important for my business and that's where I gather business opportunities. Whatever it is, it needs to be a good mix for you, because you can find business networking opportunities that are actually good for your business and you actually enjoy. I promise. I used to go to the ones that I didn't enjoy. It was short-lived, but I used to go to the ones that I didn't enjoy because I thought that I needed to be in that room. And guess what? You can find a room where you actually genuinely connect with people and it's good for your business and whatever you want to do in life. Some of my networking is just equestrians. Like, I want to meet people who love horses. I grew up on a farm, riding horses on my farm, and I had such a different experience than the vast majority of people who have an equestrian hobby. The reason that is because in most equestrian situations, they're at a barn where they lease and they have community, they have events and activities, and they learn from one another, and they have a coach or a trainer. I did not have any of that, which very grateful for. I had a farm, I had a pony when I was 4, incredible life, would not change a thing. But I didn't have community. And so literally for years, my number one goal was just to meet other people who love horses. And it was so hard for so long because you just don't meet that many people that love horses on a regular basis, that ride all the time. It's a pretty tight-knit community. Now that I'm finally in it, I know where to meet the people and where they go and what they do, but it's so hard to find my people. So grateful that I have my people now, but that can be the same with anything. It can be the same with trying to meet people that enjoy a certain thing that you love, maybe a book club that you're looking for, or maybe it's something where you're trying to find a business organization to get for business development, to do business development that doesn't feel like you are just spending time wasting your life away with people that you don't generally interact with or connect with. And then there's a give take. And sometimes you have to be in those rooms to build those relationships until you find the ones that you really love. And then you're like, okay, we're good. But what I do is like a little bit of both. So I experiment constantly and I attend different groups. I don't commit to things. I try not to commit to things. It is not in my DNA to not commit to things. I'm generally the one that loves to join organizations and join groups and say yes, and yes, I love this, and yes, this sounds interesting, and then it doesn't turn out to be. So I've learned over time to be more cautious with my commitments to different organizations and say, I just want to be a part of 1 to 2 organizations a year that I really feel passionate about, that I want to give my all to, and that's it. For me, that works for me right now, where I am in my life. There have been other times in my life where I've wanted to join 10 organizations and be active in them all and be the person that's always going and doing things. And by organizations, I mean professional organizations or things like I was doing what was it called? Volleyball, rec volleyball. I forget what it's called, but anyways, volleyball with a bunch of adults. It was really fun. And I did that for a long time. To me, that's like a little organization I was a part of. And I was a part of 2 riding groups at one point, and I loved them. I loved the people, but ultimately it was really far away and it was just cutting into too much of my personal time. So I like to find groups and people and relationships that feel good, and then just constantly audit in a lovingly way. We can lovingly love what you do, love who you are, and still say, I wish you all the best, but I can't join this year. It's hard stepping away from those obligations, especially ones that you've grown over time. But this is something that I am semi-ruthless about and just pull off the Band-Aid. I know it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt me probably more than it hurts them, but I need to constantly audit what I'm committing myself to. So when you're going to networking events, I have like a little event tracker and just track, did I love it? Was it meaningful? Is it something that I want to go to again? Or is it something I don't? And then I like to plan out my next year with the events that I absolutely loved from this year, and then decide a little closer to, or when the tickets go on sale, whether that's something that I really want to invest my time and energy into this year, or is it something that I can't or don't have the capacity for. Like all of my ETA, Entrepreneurship Through Acquisition conferences, I would love to go to them, but currently unwell and currently unable to go to networking events. So we're doing the bare minimum possible right now in hopes that that pays dividends in the future. And that's to give yourself grace, because there are going to be times in your life where you can't do as much as you want. But remember, you are planting seeds for the future. So let's say you've gone through, you've found some you found some organizations that you like, you've found some cohorts of people that you've liked, you've given a little bit of experimentation, which you will always continue to do. What's the next step? The next step is continuing to build that relationship. Imagine just meeting someone and then never speaking to them again, or never getting any update from them, and then 10 years later saying like, hey, I saw you're in this role, would love to have coffee because you'd be a great client. It just doesn't vibe with me very well. That's not my vibe. That's not something I love. So what I'd like to do is a few things. First off, I like to be very honest with myself about who I want to continue relationships with. I think it's great to meet someone. After I meet everyone, I connect with them on LinkedIn. They can see what I'm doing. I can see what they're doing. I can cheer them on when I see something that they're doing, but I may not think of them every day, or I may not think of them often. That's okay. There are going to be your tribes in the world, and there's going to be people who aren't your tribes in the world. And it is okay that you're selective about your tribe. I think that just means that the people that you surround yourself with are going to be even better for it, and you're going to be even better for it. I do think it is a quality, not quantity thing with networking. One of my favorite places on earth is Ethereal Farms in the rolling hills and draping forests of Chester County wine country. It's right next door to our sister farm, Wayvine Winery and Vineyard, so guests of our luxury accommodations can enjoy wine visits, enjoy live music and food trucks at the winery. Our luxury accommodations and tranquil landscapes provide the perfect escape from the hustle and bustle of everyday life. There's also access to over 1,000 acres of hiking. Enjoy serene walks among meadows, cozy nights by the fire making s'mores, and unforgettable moments with our friendly farm animals. Everything from horses to goats, mini donkeys, which are the absolute cutest, ducks, chickens, turkeys, we've got it all. So if you're looking for a getaway with your friends, family, significant other, be sure to check out Ethereal Farms. Follow us on social media at Ethereal Farms to get all the cute farm content, and be sure to book your stay so you can enjoy a little bit of the magic here in Chester County. The number one question I'm asked is, how do I do all the things I do? So I put this into a course, a workbook, and a workshop where you can find all the little details about how I do this on a daily basis. And I've called it the Wild Ambition Lifestyle Design Course, Workbook, and Workshop. Transform your dreams into reality with guided vision setting, storyboarding, journaling, and all the tools I use to bring my dreams to life, with over 100 lessons, 200 plus pages of workbooks, and lifetime access so you can return to it whenever you need to. The course itself is that iterative process of how we continue to evolve over time to be the best version of ourselves. If you are an ambitious individual, if you want to make your dreams come true, I think you'll really love Wild Ambition, and I encourage you to check it out in the show notes. Start your journey today. Enroll now to dream and live with wild ambition. So I usually meet sometimes 50 people sometimes 25, 30, depends on the size of the event and the duration. But at a conference that's 2-day conference, I'm usually meeting over 100 people. I'm the kind of person that rips off the Band-Aid and says, well, might as well just go up and say hi to someone, might as well just stand in the group with someone until the conversation opens up. I'm not very shy about those things. I like to meet new people. It is challenging for me every single time it's ripping off the Band-Aid. As much as it may seem like I am an extrovert, I am actually an introvert. So although I am bubbly and have a outgoing personality, I actually would much rather spend time with myself and my animals on my farm in the middle of nowhere with no people. So I know that that's a little bit of a contradiction when you're looking to meet people and network, but that is who I am, especially at this point in my life. So every time that I go to a networking event, I am pulling off the Band-Aid, and it does not feel good, and I feel nervous, and I hate going alone, and all of those things. It is not easy for me either, but guess what? The nice thing about that is that it is not easy for everyone there. So you found your events, you're going to it, you're meeting people. Well, there's a few tips that I have to actually make this make sense for you and actually be planting seeds in the future and not just spending your time doing something you genuinely don't want to do. First off, try to avoid that. Second off, the way to make it actually make sense for you is to, one, have a strategy for collecting business cards or information to connect in the future. And then do not leave a conversation without saying, hey, I'd love to connect for the future. I love to have a digital business card. This has been a game changer for me, although there's a couple of drawbacks. I really love getting physical cards because when I have a moment and I go to the bathroom, or after I leave an event, if pre-concussion, while I can remember things, I would write down little jot notes about them and what I found meaningful for the conversation. When we're talking conversation, as I said, I'm having conversations about actually things that are meaningful to them and me. I'm not talking about boring things. I'm not talking about the weather. I'm not talking about the sports. I am saying, oh, what do you love to do for fun? And trying to connect with them on a deeper level. I think that creates much more meaningful conversations. And then once I have that information, I try to write it down somewhere, either in their physical card, or I could also, I'm sure, Notes app or something, whatever you can do to try to retain that information immediately. And then connect with them on LinkedIn, connect with them on social media, whatever it is. I love to share QR codes. It was really sweet in Villanova when I was doing a speaking engagement. They gave me a little keychain thing that has my QR codes to connect with me. And then I also have an app on my phone, and whether it be LinkedIn or I use Popple, there's tons of different apps, then I use that and connect with people on there. The great thing is that it says the number of times that I've shared my business card. So I can say, okay, going into this, I have already shared it 352 times. Now, after the end of this, I've shared it 452 times. Amazing. I shared my business card with 100 people. Now, there are caveats with those digital business cards. You have to help people save your business card, because otherwise it will just open a page on the screen and not actually save the business card in some instances. Some of them save automatically, some of them don't. Most people don't have the settings of privacy and stuff enabled to just be able to automatically get a business card, but who knows, maybe that'll change. Technology changes constantly. So keep up with that, check that, because I'm sure it'll change over time. And then the tough thing is, though, then they need to send you their information. That may be a little bit hard in a situation where they're trying to talk to multiple people. So pros and cons to physical versus digital business cards, but they're very beneficial. So then once you get all of your connections, connect with people on social media, on LinkedIn, etc. So you can support them and go through your contacts and, constantly see how you can build your network. Then I also think of anybody that really stood out to me as someone I want to create a relationship with. I pull into an Excel sheet, or I pull into like a database of some sort. Some people use Monday or Asana or Excel or whatever you use to kind of track your relationships that you want to build. And then I decide on people that I want to follow up with and have maybe an annual call or a quarterly is probably way too soon, but every 6 months catch up or something like that, who I want to grab coffee with, who are important to me. And for me, that just builds really naturally. Every so often I sit down and I'm like, who do I want to connect with? And I just think of who I want to connect with genuinely. These are people I genuinely want to connect with. And then I also go back and think of who's sending me business and who do I want to thank and who do I want to take care of and who do I want to give more because I feel like they're giving to me. So for me, it's a very natural consequence. I know certain people really do a lot of business development. They do a lot of follow up and everything. And a question that was in the outline was, how much is too much? When is follow up too much? In my opinion, it depends on the situation. But like, let's say a business development or you're applying for a job or something like that. If someone has expressed interest in me, then I will follow up with them maybe 3 times. Maybe I'll follow up once and then maybe another 2 weeks later and then maybe a month later. Give them time. Give people time. Don't expect a response in a day or a week. Give someone 2 weeks, then follow up. Give someone a month, then follow up. But if they're not following up, if they're not responding after like 2 or 3 times and they desired something, they wanted to connect with me, that to me is sufficient. Maybe I'll, reach out to them on something separate a year from now or something like that. But I'm not going to go more than 3 times following up with someone. I know that there's a lot of ideas in sales and business development that you just keep going. To me, that doesn't feel good. I don't want to bother someone. That doesn't feel good. Now, if it's someone who I have sent a message to, who I want to connect with because they might be a good opportunity or they might be someone good to connect with, then I would follow up. I would send a message once. If they don't ever respond to me, I probably wouldn't follow up unless there was a reason to follow up. If there was a reason to follow up, like let's say I'm a part of a social networking organization where people network about buying and selling businesses. And let's say I sent them a message, they never responded, and then I see them post about a certain topic and I comment on it. And then I would message them and say, hey, I saw that you posted on this and I just left a comment. Let me know if you'd like to connect. So that to me feels good because not everybody sees every message, but I don't just spam people who aren't responding to me. That doesn't feel good. So I hope that's helped a little bit in giving you some tips on networking. I think it's all about building genuine connections. For me, the philosophy is doing my best to get out there and meeting good people, doing good things, and then genuinely following up with people I want to follow up with. Yes, business development does say that you should do a certain amount of thing, and I have business development practices, but when we're talking about networking one-on-one, the people that I'm spending one-on-one time with, I am pretty selective. I want to spend time with people I enjoy spending time with, and I fully believe that it is possible for you to meet people in business, in your profession, in whatever you're doing that you genuinely want to spend time with. I just don't believe in spending time with people that I don't want to spend time with. When people schedule consultation calls with me, I will specifically read them out if I didn't enjoy the conversation. If I didn't enjoy the conversation, I'm not going to follow up with you, even if it's like a $25,000, $30,000 business opportunity. And I'm not going to send a follow-up email because I genuinely, if I don't enjoy a consultation call with you, I'm not going to enjoy working with you for a few months. And that is not the business that I'm trying to build. I'm trying to build a good business, doing business with good people, doing good things. That's the business I want to build. And so if someone's like, I'm not vibing with, it's okay. They'll find their tribe. They're just not your tribe. And then when you spend time building your tribe that's actually your right tribe, it will pay dividends because people who care about you, people that want you to succeed, people who you want to succeed, build such better relationships than just trying to grind it out, having conversations that you're like, how can I ask the next question? What can I ask the next question? And then one last tip before we wrap up, be a good conversationalist. Be honest with yourself. Are you a good conversationalist or are you not a good conversationalist? I somewhat feel like if you're a podcaster, you're probably a genuinely good conversationalist. Hopefully. I can have a conversation with myself for a half hour. So for the most part, I can have a conversation with others. But ask questions. Get curious. Introduce interesting topics. Share something interesting about you. If you want a conversation with me, I have a couple things that I'm going to bring up to new people, because guess what? They always latch onto it and are always fascinated about it, no matter what I do. So I don't have to work hard for the conversation. Think of what's interesting about you. If I'm meeting someone for the first time, I always love to say, I have a farm, I have animals, I have 5 businesses. Boom. Lots to talk about. We have lots to talk about. And you should focus on being interesting yourself. Yes, you need to be interesting. You need to be someone that people want to have a relationship with. If you want to meet other people, you need to be the person that people want to have a relationship with. And you need to be interesting too. So you do not have to have a farm or animals or 5 businesses. You are interesting on your own, but you need to own it. If you are all into the romance books and the rom-coms and romanticities, you will find your people. Maybe not bring that up at a business networking event, but maybe say that you love to read and ask people what they've read recently and say, oh, maybe you have something in common. Oh, people always tell me they read thrillers, and I'm like, oh, that's amazing. I really go for the good feeling books with the good endings and then see what they say to that. And if they don't have anything to say to that, I'm like, okay, moving on, next topic. I can't talk about thrillers. That is not my vibe. I need my vibe and my tribe. I hope this has been helpful. And if you found it beneficial, be sure to share it with your friends, share it with your colleagues, share it with anybody who you know is networking, who wants to find meaningful connections in a beneficial way that they're actually going to enjoy. Because remember, we are on this planet for a short period of time, and actually meeting your tribe is a really incredible way to spend that time. Don't waste your time going to networking events you don't enjoy, talking to people you cannot connect with. Actually find your tribe. It's not easy. It takes time. It takes pursuit, but I fully believe it is possible for every single one of us. Be a good person, doing good things, meet good people, doing good things. That's my philosophy. Let me know yours in my latest Instagram. Be sure to give this a 5-star review. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next episode.